Hello again, a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Deni and I'm here today to compare a modern day Johnnie Walker Blue Label and a Johnnie Walker Blue Label from yesteryear. So obviously the brand was released in 1992. This here is an early to mid 1990s Johnnie Walker Blue Label. For those that subscribe to my channel or have visited previously, you may have already seen my review on the modern day Johnnie Walker Blue Label. If you haven't, fear not, I can quite simply add the link in the comment section if it is of interest, because there I spoke a little bit about the blend and the brand, and obviously went through tasting notes and overall experience. My intention here is not to talk about the actual brand, the blend too much. It is more just actually go through the overall experience, compare the two for you, any differences that are noticeable, and ultimately give you my thoughts on which I think is the better blue label. If you don't subscribe, please hit the subscribe button, at least hit the like button. That way YouTube will share the video around. Now, both 40% ABV. This also does come in a 43%. They came out around at a similar sort of time. And then obviously many limited editions that have come out over the years as well. I would like to get stuck straight into it because really, I'm already, the bouquet in this is very, very lovely, right? 40% ABV, but I can tell you now that there is some very obvious peat, so underlying smoke, and a bit of funky, dank, wet cardboard to this, obviously bottled in the 1990s. So you're going to say that old bottle effect would be present in this. If I've not spoken about OBE in the past, I think maybe what I'll do is I'll save that for a video, because I intend to go through some blends in the near future, because I think there's something to be said there. I may keep this rant to the end of the video because people that are absolute whiskey nerds will probably be very interested in it. Now, also with that, camphor, fruits, the fruits that you're getting are peaches, white flesh peaches, some nectarines. Also, what you'll find, apple and pear. You'll find that in modern day Johnnie Walker Blue Label. I think that is a characteristic that will shine through regardless of which era you're having a blue label from. But here it is more a stewed apple pear as opposed to a fresh apple pear. Also, almond nougat, and if you've had sugar-coated almonds, if you've been to a wedding in the 90s, where you're a guest of European people that were getting married, you would have had that as a favour on the table, also known as a bombiniere. I think I've had my fair share of them on the way home from a wedding. Now, cooking spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, also along with some pepper. You've got honey that keeps on just running through with that underlying smoke there as well. Quite a bit going on in the nose. Really, really lovely nose is the way that I would describe it. Smoke, chocolate, fruits, yes. What you're getting here is you're getting some peaches, white flesh peaches, you're getting more pear than apple, some bitter orange, because there's a little bit of that there, along with the spices I mentioned earlier. It's probably more nutmeg with some pepper, also some sweet bread, some shortbread is probably the absolute best way for me to be able to describe this, along with some eucalyptus as well towards the finish, and just keeps on lingering through. Now, one thing that I wanted to say, I didn't want to say this immediately, is I think most people who would have this now would probably consider it, especially on the arrival, to be a little bit thin. That is in no way a flaw in the whiskey. I think it's us. And the reason I say that is because I think it's probably very easy, especially over the last couple of years, to become accustomed to high ABV, cask strength, high proof whiskey. 50, 55, 60 plus, whatever it may be. But then when you go down to a 40%, it's very easy to say that it's either thin or lax in mouthfeel, lackluster, anything along those lines. I don't think that would probably be a fair way to be able to put this, but I could very easily see how a modern day whiskey drinker that hasn't had many blends from yesteryear would feel that. Anyway, I won't harp on that for too long. What I'm going to do is move over to the modern day Johnnie Walker Blue Label now. Brighter on the nose. Yes, underlying smoke. Yes, fruits, apple, pear, orange. more cinnamon, no nutmeg here. It's very, very creamy. You're getting some vanilla that comes through as well. Absolutely no honey. So there's honey and almonds there. I'm not getting any honey or almonds in this, but I'm getting vanilla. I'm getting caramel. I mentioned the underlying smoke, but it is a brighter nose, absolutely. Almost like a bit of confectionery sweetness coming through. Now the bottle's been opened for a little while since I actually sat down to review it last, so I think it's actually become a little bit sweeter on the nose while it's had a bit of air get to it. As I said, there are absolutely some consistencies between the two, and you can tell that they're both a blue label. I mean, if you were to have them blind, you would say that there are absolutely some similarities, even if you didn't know what it was. But I will have to say that I do prefer the nose on the 1990s. I think that there is more depth. I think that in terms of complexity, if I can quite simply just use a word like that, this absolutely trumps this particular one. The thing that I really like with this is the nuts, the fruits, also the smoke is a little bit more pronounced in this one. The brightness that you're getting here, to me, gives it far more of a contemporary feel as well. Still a lovely nose though. Bit of orange and oak comes through with some smoke there, a little bit of spice. Then comes apples, pears. It's creamy. You're getting a very, very big whack of vanilla, which is really nice. But once again, as I said, it's sweeter than the previous version. And also, I'm getting some bitter oak that lingers through on the finish, and that is not something that was present in the 90s version. Lovely blend, yes. Very well put together. Very, very, very easy to sit down and drink this. It is a whiskey that you could sit down and you could literally just have dram after dram after dram, and it is very, very, very easy drinking, and you can appreciate it and enjoy it for what it is. Now, I think with this you could actually spend your time with it a little bit more, and if you did spend some time with it a little bit more, you'd probably be able to find far more going on. And I think, as I said, that's just the layers and the complexity there. Now, the piece that I wanted to talk about in terms of the blends. So I guess to summarize, for me, I much rather prefer this one over this one. This for me is a 7 out of 10. This for me, I'll be able to score between a 7.5 or an 8. It would be dependent on if I could pick it up at an absolute steal, which I've done in the past. It's an 8 out of 10, because like everyone else, who doesn't love a great value buy? But anyway, the thing that I wanted to talk about with blends is I think there are many people that are absolutely on this and are buying old blends and just buying blends because we're starting to see some good quality that is coming through in certain blends, and then in some we're not, which is where we can find that in older whiskey, older blended whiskey I should say. And I think that's quite simply because right now single malts are absolutely fashionable. So if you've got good stock, old stock, and you can sell it for 3, 5, 10 times the price that you'd be able to in a blend, it absolutely makes sense to be able to sell it as a single cask or sell it as a release in that sense. But I think if you were to wind back to 60s, 70s, even 80s, you had very, very, very good stock, old stock, quality casks that were going into blends. And you can still find many of these old bottles at very good prices to be able to go out and buy. An 80s single malt, or even not a single, well, a single malt, but it might not be a single cask. 80s, still probably paying a little bit of money for it. 70s, you're paying a lot of money for it. 60s, but you can find 60s, 70s, 80s blends out there, especially 70s and 80s at a very, very good price. There are probably people out there at the moment saying, shut up, because it's going to become harder to find if more and more people are looking for it. But I really think that over the last couple of years, it's certainly something that I've seen more and more of on my shelves, and I think we'll probably start to see more and more of that over the next couple of years. So anyway, I think that could be a discussion for another time, because I do have some older blends that I'd really like to be able to sit down and go over with you. But anyway, there you have it. So my comparison of the two, my preference of the two, but absolutely have to say the quality in both is very, very apparent. Quality blends, consistency absolutely there as well. So I think you have to take your hat off to the team for the last 30 years there, and the master blenders that have put in the hard work into this. Now, as I always do say, I appreciate the time very much once again. So cheers to you. Please remember to subscribe and hit the like button. Till next time.